Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Seven Figure Real Estate Agent here on the channel. I am super excited to have my good buddy Richard Schulman from Los Angeles, one of the top agents on, and we're going to chat about all things real estate, my old city, I should say. And this episode is brought to you by All Star VAs. If you need a virtual assistant to help you in your real estate business, executive assistant, social media manager, inside sales, go to allstarvas.com, click the link. Book a demo call. We'll show you how it's done. Richard, man, I'm so excited to chat with you. I haven't seen you in a while. Obviously, we moved left LA, but how are things in LA real estate?
It's been a really strange year. We started off, obviously with the fires, and that sort of threw everything for a loop. And then we had the resulting insurance challenges, which I think is, not specific to us, but definitely more problematic here, I would say. And then more recently, we've had the tariffs in the stock market, which again, not specific to us, but definitely a stronger effect here as our price point. A lot of people derive their wealth from investments and get nervous about these things. So pretty much the strangest year I've been in real estate since at least 2008. I can say that.
Gotcha. And that was a weird time as well.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I had just gotten into real estate. So that's great, Richard. Well, you've always, I think, done super well, through the ups and the downs. So in terms of your business, would love to kind of hear, what sets you apart and what your superpower is there. Because there's a lot of agents in LA. And so.
Too many. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way too many.
What makes you so awesome?
Thank you I'll accept the compliment. I think the difference is that myself, and I hope that I impart on my team, the idea that, look, no matter what happens in the world, like we sold houses the days after the fire. We sold houses the days after the COVID shutdowns, right? We sold houses in 2009 when banks were closing. Real estate is always going to transact. The difference I feel with myself and my team is that we are really deeply, truly focused on the outcome for our client, right? If you're my client, Danny, I'm not worried about getting a quick sale. I'm not worried about how fast can I jam you into a house to make my April numbers, right? I'm worried about, are you going to be really deeply happy with this house for you and your family and your future? I always tell my clients, I don't care about the house, right? You have to decide, Danny, if you like the house, right? If your wife likes the house, the kids, it makes sense for the commute and the yard and whatever you need, whatever your needs are. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is when you call me in 7 years to resell the house, I don't want to have any trouble. So I'm really committed to outcome for my clients. I'm very transparent and letting people know, like, I'm here for the long run. And doing this 21 years, like you've been doing this a long time, you start to get a lot of clients that just have done deals with you many, many times, over and over and over again for 15, 20 years. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach for sure. Richard, speaking of which, you've been in the business, I know, for a long time. Can you remember back to your first transaction and what that was like?
Yeah, I actually have you can't see it, but right off camera where I can face it, just to the left of my monitor, I have my first commission check, and my old brokerage used to do postcards on sales. I've got my first check and postcard up on the wall there.
Are you stressed out juggling? Oh, shoot, I really can't juggle. Now my dog's gonna grab all of it. Okay, listen, this video is brought to you by All Star VAs. Are you stressed out juggling your calendar, your email, all of the tasks you have to do, plus your personal life, which doesn't leave you any time to actually do the stuff that you got into real estate to do, like going on client appointments, negotiating deals, all the fun stuff? Look, if that's you, I have a solution for you. My team of all-star virtual assistants helps me do all of those things so that I can do the stuff that I love doing. And we can install an all-star virtual assistant for you in your business, whether that's an executive assistant, a social media manager to blow up all your accounts, a marketing manager, an inside sales associate, a customer care manager, and plenty of other positions starting as low as $4 an hour. All you got to do is go to allstarvas.com, book a call with our team. We'll tell you all about the program and see if it's a fit for you. All right, back to the video.
I remember it very well. It was an up call, which they don't have anymore, floor time call. And, I like to think that in real estate, we make our own luck. All the data I'm sure you talk about is the vast majority of agents make a sale by being the first one to the client, right? Most clients are hiring the first or second agent they really talk to. And I picked up an up call. I was doing probably 8-10 hours a week of up calls, just trying to be available. These people wanted to see a house. They're like, we're outside the house right now. I drove right over and showed them the house, and they bought it. And the lesson of all that, unfortunately, that was also my third sale because they ended up getting divorced. But the reality is, it shows you like it's such a microcosm of real estate, right? I didn't do anything special. I sat at up call. The front desk receptionist knew if someone bailed on up call time, floor time, I'd be there to pop in. I just made my own luck there. And unfortunately, real estate sometimes is not about opportunity. It's about solving problems. And they had a problem, had to sell the house fairly quickly.
Man, you made such a good point there. I think the statistic is like over 70% of
Yeah.
people hire the first or second agent they meet with. I think that's what the statistic they always put
Yeah,
up.
I've heard the same numbers. So look, whether it's accurate or not, like trajectory is correct. Like we all know that the majority of sales happen if you're the first, caring agent that has a conversation with a potential buyer or seller. That's just make your own luck. You're not making enough sales, go sit floor time, go do open houses, pick up the phone and call people, and just be first to the client. Then when you meet them, be amazing for them, and then they'll call you the next time and they'll refer you their friend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I told you I had 8 minutes. That's the whole thing.
It hasn't even been. It's only been 6 minutes.
That's everything. That's all you need. There's nothing else you need to know about.
That's all you got. All right, Richard. Thanks for being on. No, I still need to ask you about. I saw a post the other day. We're going to go totally on a tangent. I saw a post the other day that you ran a marathon, and I was like, "What's going on? Is someone chasing you? Like, are the cops after Richard? What's happening? What made you want to run a marathon out of nowhere?"
Oh boy, that's actually probably a way more interesting conversation than real estate.
See,
I look at the marathon. I know you're an athlete, right? Like I'm not an athlete. Yeah. You know me. Like there's not 3 athletic genes in my whole body. But I one day randomly signed up for a half marathon about 2.5 years ago. And I'll tell you a good story. It actually relates totally to real estate. And my buddy was doing it with me. He was actually fairly athletic, but we couldn't run 2 miles without my hip, we're mid 40s. Oh, my hip, I don't want to get, I don't want to injure it. Okay, I've got to stop. My knees feels a little wonky. Oh, like I'm breathing too hard. My heart rate, I'm watching my heart rate. Oh, it's too, all this stuff that, we're overthinking. And one day we just got to our training plan. We're like, if we don't run 6 miles today, we are not going to be able to run this half marathon. Because we had a training plan. We had missed every deadline. We're like, today we have to run 6 miles without stopping. And we had never run like 2.5 miles. You know what? Just that whole mental shift, like I have to do it. And we got to 5.5, and I remember I looked at I got a runner's watch on, and I'm like, you know what? It's only 15 more minutes. We can go to 7, and we ended up going to like 7.5, 8 miles there, and then it was downhill. Then we hit our time. We did a 2-hour sub 2 half marathon, which is a good if you're not a runner. That's like a good demarcation line. And then I always felt like, well, now you got to do something more challenging. Half marathon's not challenging anymore, so. I did 4 hours, 24 minutes, which was fine. I wasn't happy about it. I have posted on my wall over there. We should have like an immersive 360. But I have on my wall over there a picture of me at 4:24, and I worked all year to beat that. So I did 3:57 last year, which is a really good time. That put me in the top third of the entrance at the marathon. But it's just all mindset. It's focus. It's scheduling. It's business planning. It's no different, Danny, than saying, I want to sell 10 homes this year. How am I going to do it? Except that you have to start, at March 17th, you have to be at Dodger Stadium at like 4 a.m. to sell all 10 homes. Like, how can you prepare? How can you plan? And everything, it's such a beautiful moment of focus that everything just comes together and you spend 4 hours. And I'm not like one of these like people, but like 4 hours of just zen, of just like staring at your watch and like counting your calories that you're trying to ingest and how much water. It's just a beautiful experience. I'm going to do it again.
Richard, that's an awesome story. I think actually very relatable to real estate, like you said. I mean, it applies fully. And by the way, you cannot say you're not an athlete if you.
Now I'm an athlete. Before I was not. But maybe that's the whole point. Maybe, maybe I'm not gonna play professional sports, but I think I willed myself to that outcome.
Yes, you did, and you proved that it is mindset, right? So much of it. I was a sprinter and played football because I like the burst and then the stop. And that's relatable to me in business too, because I like going quickly and then taking a break. I don't like my wife. So this funny actually story, Elena, my wife, signed up for the half marathon. It was like a charity half marathon in Anaheim a long time ago. And what happened was she got pregnant. And so she was like, okay, I can't do it, but we've already raised money. You do it. And so I had to do it, and I hated every minute of it. So unlike you, I will never do that again. It was the worst.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a miserable experience, but like something about I read something one time like I didn't stretch afterwards for like weeks, and it's
Right.
like you just like enjoying like feeling like your hamstring is sore because it reminds you of like the success. So like yeah, it's not like you don't like finish the marathon like, well, I feel great right now. You're like, well, I feel terrible. Everything hurts. I want to throw up. I'm dehydrated. Everything in your body is failed 30 minutes ago. You ran 30 minutes past total body failure, but it's something beautiful about doing that and completing it and just knowing that you did it.
Yeah, no,
So I'd
that's
like to
awesome.
challenge you to a full marathon, Danny. I'd like you to do it.
No, I promise you I'm not going to do it. I did that half, and I'm like, I will never run more than like a half mile again. But if you like basketball, I play basketball every week. That's great. I'll do that. I'll play, But yeah, running a long thing, definitely not for me. So Richard, let me ask you this. I'm going to relate this back to real estate. I'm going to segue it
Yeah.
right back and say,
Good.
do
Yeah.
you do that same level of, I'll say, planning and things like that for real estate, or at this point is it just kind of on autopilot for you?
No, it's 100% the same thing. And you can go back and listen to my 2 minute, monologue about running. It's probably 3 minute monologue about running, and you could just change running to prospecting, and it would everything would make total sense. Look, sometimes in your sales business, you get a little stale, right? And like you're in your training, you're just like, I don't have it today. I don't feel like getting up at 4 a.m. to go running through the streets at dark and it's 48 degrees. And your sales business suffers. The same thing it's the exact same thing. So, this year I came in, the marathon helped me be really focused because now it's like my very little extra time is now completely absorbed. So I have to be extra focused on how I spend my time because running is time consuming, right? I just ran earlier today. I ran for an hour, but an hour of running means I need to do like 20 minutes of post and 10 minutes of pre. Getting ready. I got to shower and stretch and blah. So it's 90 minutes out of my day. I'm like you. I don't have any free time. So this year I came in really focused on my real estate journey. We're having a monster year, even though ostensibly the market's not great overall, but I'm just like super focused. My personal sales are on a record pace. I'm like halfway to my own personal most dollars sold in a year. My team's on pace to do the second most we ever did, which would have been 2021, which was like, a crazy year to kind of like, it's crazy to say like 21, which was like the second best year ever after 22. And this year you could even be in the same ballpark. But I just came in laser focused on a plan, on a schedule, and just every day just laser focused on outcome. And I think it's really helped both things work out better.
That's awesome, Richard. Just for the sake of numbers, and we know
Yeah.
what are you on track for this year as a team in terms of
Yeah.
sales volume?
Yeah, so our best year ever, just for some context, we did 225 and 21 and 304, I think, in 22. This year we're at about 100 million pending and closed, so it's the end of April right now. In theory, that means we're closing about 20 million a month, maybe just slightly under that. So that puts us in that 200 to 240 range. I don't know if we'll keep that up all year. It's a pretty brisk start, but that's a good number. And I've got a team of 18. So that tells me that everyone's doing a million a month on average, which is a good place to be at. That means if everyone's at a million a month on average, we're above that right now. If you're at a million a month on average, you're making good money here in LA. Really anywhere, but it's one of our metrics. I run a team, right? So it's nice that I'm doing well, but like if you're not doing well, we're not a team, right? It's everyone's having really solid years. Some people are having great years. Some people are having totally solid years. Look, I've been doing this a long time. I've been in the audience. I've been on the stage, same as you. I've heard people say, I think it's really important. I just like to always preface that or append that by saying, it doesn't matter how much you sell. I knew people that lost money doing 100 million a year. Like literally I wrote a check to do mine. I know people that do 200 million that make no money. Maybe they're all making their money in escrow. Fine. It doesn't matter how much you sell. No one cares. You couldn't even go look up what I did 2 years ago. I could have made up those numbers. No one cares how much you sold. What matters is how much you put in your pocket. And running a responsible business if you run a team, taking care of your team, those two things are way more important. I would rather sell 50 million and have team members profitable and happy than sell 500 million and have unhappy team members and be losing money. So no one is impressed by your sales numbers. They're impressed by how nice your background is on your calls, and so we can tell you have a much nicer background than me.
That's funny. But what you
Okay.
said there, I think, Richard, is that is so important. And being kind of a business guy and numbers and systems and things like that, I'm very into that. So I was actually going to go there next is talk about most teams, like you said, are not profitable. The brokerage loves it and they give you a big plaque at the end of the year. But
Yeah.
as far as the guy running the team, not so much. So that was actually going to be my question: is with a large team like that, what does your setup look like to make sure that not only your team members are successful, but that ultimately you're running a profitable business? Because, like you said, it is not easy, but you could sell 200 million and not make any money.
Yeah, and I'm sure people same as me that like they do that. That was actually my first experience. I was at a really top brokerage office. I was at Prudential's #2 office when I joined. So like it was Beverly Hills and then Encino. Like this was their premier office, and there's just a lot of people in there that did big sales volume and had a big car, fancy car, because our parking lot was right there. You could see everyone had their, the Ferraris and the BMWs and like the crate. When you're 23, you're like, this is awesome. And then this is not judgmental, but you're like, okay, well, here's this guy. He sells a lot of real estate. He drives a crazy car. I'm driving like the car my parents bought me for graduation, which I'm fortunate enough to even have that. And then you look up, you're like, well, why do you have why is your production this big and your car is even bigger and your house is like this? And like to me, it was like a total mismatch of like, where's the money all going, right? Like having a nice house isn't important, but having a house that suits your needs and stable and important. So my point is not you judge on like how nice your house is, but it's like if you're going out there and making money, don't burn it on fancy cars and nonsense. Invest it in your family and yourself. So it's another diatribe of mine. Sorry, what was your question?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, it really relates to that, in terms of like running a profitable business, because I think in real estate, like a lot of guys that have these big teams, what you end up seeing if you were to actually look at the P&L is that, they have a lot of times huge splits with the agents. The agents are making a ton and they're buying leads or whatever. So how, what do you do? I guess two-part question. What do you do to make sure your agents are successful on the team? And then how do you actually run a profitable business that grows and things like that?
All right, yeah, thanks. So there's really two ways I look at a team member. So if I'm meeting you as a team member, I don't bring on anyone. I bring on people that I think really the metric for me is I look at you and I'm like, can you make me $1 million? Right? If I make $1 million, you're going to make $1 million. And not everyone's going to do that, of course. It takes a while to do that in real estate. But I look at you like, can you be a 6 to 10 year producer on the team, 10 to 12 million a year? If so, then we'll both get our $1 million. I made this mistake early on in running a team. You can't just bring people on just to say you have a big team. I know people who are like, oh, I have 80 people on my team. And I'm like, I'm looking at your numbers. What are the bottom 60 people? And they're like, oh, they don't sell anything. I'm like, well, why do you have them? Like, we're not like, are you just like collecting licenses? To me, it's like risky and silly. I told my agents this year, the second part of the answer on running your agents is you have to hold them accountable. I think one of my mistakes I made and what I'm more laser focused on this year is I didn't micromanage people. And I'm not micromanaging. I'm just a lot more clear on expectation. If you want to be on the team, you need to prospect. We're going to track your prospecting through our CRM, and we're going to understand if you're prospecting or not. Because if you're not prospecting, you're wasting leads. You're burning my time and my staff time with questions. And eventually those people leave the team. People leave the team because they're not making enough money. They think they're going to make some money elsewhere. So I've been holding everyone to a much more higher level of accountability this year. And that's worked out great. Ultimately, running your agents, you have to have agents that are going to succeed through your training, through your systems, your platform, the leads you have to give them. The fact that you hire responsibly, right? We don't just hire 10 brand new agents and hope 2 stick out. You may have that model, it might work, but I don't have that model. And probably most people don't.
No, that's a failing model for sure.
Yeah, it's not going to work. As far as the team, we run a very service heavy model, so it's expensive. We have high staff costs. Our value add to our clients and to our agents is staff heavy. We have 5 or 6 full-time employees, plus we have outside photographer, outside TC. So I know some people have inside TC. We're running 5 or 6 employees, plus basically at the cost is 2 additional full-time employees outside. So we're running 6, 7, 8 full-time employees for probably 15. I have 18, I think. So some of the staff sells, it gets complicated, but let's say 15 full-time agents on the team, and we're running like almost a half a staff person per agent. So that's my model for success. I can provide leads to you. I can provide a lot of staff for you. A lot of other teams they'll give you a better split, but they're not going to hand you leads, and they're not going to give you staff support like we're doing. That's not to say my model is better. My model works for me and my market. That might work differently in a different market. So
Yeah, that's actually a lot of staff, especially in a place like LA where labor is very expensive and the labor laws are not very employer friendly. I remember.
I have no comment on that.
Right. Yeah, I have some stories, but yeah, that is very staff heavy for sure and expensive. So let's talk about leads a little bit. I know a lot of agents, when they think about joining teams, that's one of the first things they say is, I want leads. Who's going to give me leads and stuff like that? So what is your method for doing that and distributing them, and where you're getting a majority of yours from and things like that?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll say that, really for teams, I don't know that there's really a good model for teams, whether you're a team runner or a team agent, which by the way, there's no shame in being an agent. There's plenty of my agents live great lives, and there's people out there that live incredible lives being agents on teams. No one cares if your name, I've gotten zero joy lifetime, combined total zero joy lifetime having my name on signs, right? I get a lot of grief and I get a lot of angry phone calls from people. No joy. My wife's not impressed that I have my name on signs in the ground, right? I don't know if your wife is impressed by that, but
No, she never was. My wife's not impressed by much.
Yeah. So, but you have to provide leads, and if you're an agent on a team, you have to get leads. We give out leads. We have a very simple policy. Leads are given to people who are working. I can see if you're in the database prospecting. I can see if you're producing. I have a lead here, right? Danny, you say, hey, my brother wants to buy a house in LA. I'm going to send you the lead. Who's going to work it on the team? And I would just get some info from you and say, okay, who's producing the most right now? Who's my best agent right now? Because I need to get paid, right? You need a good service outcome, and I need to get paid. So I just like, it may not be the best agent on the team. The best agent on the team might be in a funk, right? They might be going on vacation. They might be overloaded with work. It might be the sixth best agent is just crushing it right now on the way to being the best agent. So we have a very clear policy. Leads are given out based on your ability to close them, right? My perception of your ability to close them. If it's an even, maybe there's 3 or 4 matches, I just do a first to claim, right? Speed to lead. I'll say forward out an email. Hey, I got a lead who can work it right now, right? You're on showings all day. Great, that's amazing. I'm really happy for you, but you can't have a lead then, right? People email back. Oh, I can call them in an hour. No, we're not. No, like you can call them now, or someone else will take it from you. So leads are distributed purely on meritocracy.
I love it. I think that's a great approach for sure. And then seeing how they do. So Richard, on that note, so I'm interested. Like, let's say I'm a new or newer agent. I get hired on your team. What does that first kind of 30, 60, 90 days look like for success for me on the team?
We're not hiring new agents anymore.
Well, sorry, not brand new. But like, let's say I'm an agent in LA, and I'm not doing great. I want something better. I talk to you. You hire me. What do I do those first 30, 60, 90 days to become successful on the team?
I'm going to give a plug for Ben Kinney here, if I'm allowed to do that. You can
Of
bleep
course,
it out.
I know Ben really well. Yeah. Yeah, you can plug anything
Ben's
you want.
good. If you want to learn anything about real estate, just like look for him on some pod. He said something once, I heard him speaking, and he said something about how he has people make 1,000 dials in a day as like his like fraternity initiation. He didn't say it like that, but that was like my kind of like read on it. And so I've never had anyone make 1,000 dials on a day. I don't think it's possible. Like on a single line, I don't think it's possible.
No,
we can't use triple lines anymore. But I just think like, listen, here's what we're gonna do. I got training videos. I made training videos. I have training videos and links. I have a big training library. You can go on YouTube and find all the training. You'll never be able to watch all the real estate training videos out there. There's an enormous amount. Every company has their own training videos, right? Like we have a training program written out. Danny, here's a list of what I want you to learn. I don't want you to learn everything. I just need you to like start talking to people, making appointments. Number one thing is I have 20,000 old leads in the database, and you're just gonna start calling people. The best way to learn real estate is to call people and just be terrible at calling people, and then every day be a little bit less terrible. Because ultimately, this is a phone sales business, and you need to be able to pick up the phone and talk to people. And if you're meeting them at an open house or another scenario, it's no different. You need to be able to meet someone, and navigate an awkward conversation into an appointment. And you're going to just make thousands and thousands of dials. And when you can start doing that, we'll give you new leads. And every time we do that, they call the old leads the dead leads pile. What do they find in the dead leads pile, Danny? I want to buy a house.
Clients.
I want to sell a house.
Yeah, for sure.
And that lead, you can see 12 agents have called that lead over the last 8 years. You know, this guy's rude, this guy's a jerk, told me to F off, blah, blah, blah. Today he's a buyer. And you call him on the right time, and every time the new agents make a sale or two out of the dead lead pile, and they make a few thousand calls, and some quit, which is great. I think quitting real estate is the best decision that most realtors will ever make, right? And the ones who make it through might succeed. But like ultimately in my model, and probably most models, unless you've got really crazy personal database, which most people probably don't have, is you need to be able to pick up the phone and call people 2 to 3 hours a day for the rest of your life. That's it. If you can do that, everything else is easy.
It's so interesting because whenever I talk to people who are very successful like you, it's very simple. You know, talk to a bunch of people and you'll be successful. I talk to agents who are struggling, and I'm like, well, "What do you do all day?" And they're, "Oh, you know, I design my marketing, and then I'm gonna do a YouTube channel, or maybe I'm gonna do Instagram." You know, it's all over the place. I'm like, "Well, how many people did you call today?" "Well, I didn't call anyone today." Okay, that's why you're not successful, right? Very
yeah. Then they start making Instagram reels of them touring homes.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That works depending on, like, if you're a attractive female, that works better.
Yeah. Here in LA we have like a surplus of that, so it's not even a differentiator.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot.
Yeah. That's why I don't do any social media for that reason.
Yeah, well, you do Facebook. You're on Facebook all the time.
Yeah, I just fool around on Facebook.
Okay. So strictly calling. Okay, so what if you have an agent on your team who actually does want to do some social media? Would you look at that kind of in addition to the calling, or something they can do instead of?
I think I would have given you an answer maybe recently, like, oh, let's try it and see how it goes. And now I'm just like, I forgot what it was. Like, sometimes you get older and you just don't care about it anymore. And now I'm like, I'm not gonna be nice to you, Dan. Like, I don't care. Like, you want to do social media, great. I think you should do it. It's gonna be amazing for you. You're gonna be like the one person that cracks social media. You just moved here from Dallas, Texas. You have 4 friends in LA. They're all unemployed actors. Like, this is exactly what you should be doing. I just don't have the patience for it anymore. Everything. This is probably my best quote that I have. If I'm going to quote myself, everything is an excuse not to just pick up the phone and call. Everything you're doing. You made a joke before. I liked your joke about I got to get my marketing ready. I got my business page ready. Like, no one cares. Call people, make appointments. That's it. Like, if you can't do that, everything else is a distraction. I get business from Facebook. I probably sell a few homes a year. I'm from LA. I have hundreds and hundreds of friends. I purposely add friends from everything I do. Youth sports with my kids. I have 4 kids in 75 different schools and sports programs. And I add people to my Facebook, and I post very, very little because you don't even know any real estate stuff. You know my marathon and my running stuff more than real estate because I only post something that is going to be like just killer real estate of interest. And so I usually am able to make a sale or get a connection from that. Yeah. But anyways,
the real estate stuff typically is not interesting. Like, people post like, I have an open house. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, no one cares.
So no one cares. Yeah, the personal stuff I think is what's better to post.
I post
anyway.
If I have like a killer property that I know. Like 3 years ago, my neighbors, I saw a moving truck in the driveway. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't know they were moving. They had little kids. It was weird. I start calling around. Like, apparently they listed the house, not with me. Well, that's another story. But they're going to sell the house. And I knew the broker, and he's like, yeah, they're emptying it out now. They're going to move out, paint and stage. We'll be on market like next Tuesday. And I put up on Facebook, I'm like, this is the best house you'll ever, be my neighbor. It was a really nice house, crazy good house. And I got like 5 inquiries, and my friends bought the house, thank God, because now we have our friends living 2 doors down. And I remember he DM'd me. He's like, and we had never DM'd on Facebook before. We were like friends of friends, really. And he's like, call me now, buying a house, something like that. It was like, okay. And he bought the house, right?
Nice.
Like, that's the only thing I'll ever post on social media is like when I know that someone's going to text me and be like, I need to see that house tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. No, that makes sense. All right, so Richard, let me ask you this. You're running a big team, but you're still in personal production also. Is
Yeah.
that by choice? Is that something you love doing? Can't get away from? Tell me your thoughts on that.
Listen, I'll tell you for people, I speak a fair amount, out in the ecosystem of speaking at things. And everyone usually, oh, how can I? And my team for LA there's really not a lot of large teams in the LA market. There's definitely fewer than 10. There might be like five, what you might picture of like, I run a traditional, normal large team model, like, a lot of people have, you've seen around. So I know you have people listening from all over. There's probably like five of those in LA that actually function as real large teams. And everyone's like, how can I grow a team? Like, honestly, solo agent to assistants is probably the most profitable, happiest model you can run. Like, if you're a good individual agent, you should aspire to solo agent to it. It's really hard to climb the hill into large team. The money is still in sales, right? I'm in a high price point market. I don't know about other markets, but my personal average price here is over 3 million. My team average is like 1.5 million. Like, you do the math on that. It's still like really good business. And there's something just really exciting about selling a house still. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I want to say addictive. I don't know if that's the wrong word or not, but there's something like sometimes it really sucks. Like, I have a couple listings that just aren't selling right now and unrealistic sellers, and that's not fun. And then sometimes just like popping a big deal is just really exciting. So hard to get away from. It drives the team because when I do business, it brings in other business I can hand off to the team. The money's good. Those are a lot of times my friend, like close friends that want to work with me. So I think the nice part about a team is I can choose who I work with, right? Like you, I wouldn't work with you. You seem difficult. I wouldn't work with you if you came back to LA. I'd throw you out.
I'm super easy, man. I would want to pay you your full commission because you're a friend.
Yeah.
I'd never negotiate it. I'm good.
Yeah. Tour 3 homes tops, like totally realistic cash deal. Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
I don't. I haven't done. I've done 27 million this year so far. I'm not trying to brag. I've done like 3 million of that was financed.
Oh, it's all
my new
cash.
business. I'm just doing cash deals for friends or friends of friends. That's my new model.
I like
cash
that.
only. Yeah.
Cash. So when you do your buyer presentation, that's your first question. Do you have cash?
Yeah. It's not. It's like it's too much hassle otherwise.
I love that.
So.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So, all right. So, Richard, you're still in personal production. Obviously, you have this big team, right? You're doing a lot of volume. So, to the outside world, people watching, they'll be like, "Hey, this is all perfect. It's all rosy. There's no issues, no challenges." I know that's not true because there always are. So, what's a challenge that you're facing right now that you're trying to, get through or overcome in your business?
Boy, that was not on our pre-list of questions. Wow, what a curveball here.
I gotta ask some curveballs, man.
That's good. Boy, I don't have a good answer for you. I really like what I do, and I really accept. I accept the gamble. I accept the premise of what we do. Right? People are shitty to you, right? Like clients, team members. Like it's a messy world we inhabit, and people are not always their best when they're buying. I accept that premise. I think sometimes it's still, even doing this for a while, it's sometimes still hard to compartmentalize, two things. One, a lot of what we do as agents is just like absorbing our clients' emotions. Like, I'm selling houses to successful business people that, are attorneys or whatever, and they're not better than anyone else, but like they're professionally in the business of handling hard things. And then you sell them a house and it's just complete chaos and crying and screaming and the wife's calling and I don't want this, and the husband, I don't want this, and it's just complete chaos from otherwise like super high functioning people. And part of our job is absorbing that. So it's still hard to compartmentalize that stress, even though I'm very clear on like this is why we get paid. You hear those numbers, we get paid. This is why we get those good numbers, because we're dealing with that sort of. And then the other side of that is just compartmentalizing, like, when does it stop, right? I took a call at like, I was putting my kids to bed at 9:00, and my good friend who's in a messy situation called me and said, like, I need to talk right now. And it's like, you know what? Like, that's tough. You have kids. I got kids. It's like, what do you do? Like, you take on. I took that paycheck, right? I can't say, well, I'm busy. And I took that paycheck, right? And so I have to perform. So I think that's always a challenge. It gets better over time. You learn to compartmentalize. You learn how to just like blank out at night and go to bed. But I think it's still always just a challenge of like, you have to really accept that like there's some really high income potential in this business, and there's some really good flexibility. But like, I just decided at 10 o'clock I'm just going to run for an hour, right? And I listened to a book. I didn't answer any calls or anything like that. And that, you know what? And everything was fine. The world still turned. When I got back to my computer an hour later, there's some really good flexibility. I have some great travel planned this year. I've done some great traveling in the last few years. You can do that, but like you're also taking that gamble on like you're going to take those 9 o'clock calls, and your best friend's going to yell at you, and like your close friend's going to get mad at you about something. This is the job we've taken on, and there's many way worse. I'm not complaining. There's many way worse jobs. That's one thing I'm always trying to work through.
Hey man, you got like 7 staff members. Just have them take the calls at 10 a.m. You can run whenever you want.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, my good friend has some super complex questions. Can they call and yell at you at 9 o'clock tonight? Yeah,
Exactly.
that'll go great.
Then you'll get into those LA labor law issues, you see?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Richard, you mentioned something you wanted to promote, which was you mentioned referral business. Are you talking about agent-to-agent referrals or referrals from past current clients for business?
Just me. I'm not selling anything except myself. So I would love to, anyone out there listening that wants a really good agent in LA, I've got 15 agents on my team, and 14 of them are spectacular. I'm not going to tell you the 15th is, but I've got a really good roster of agents that cover a wide part of LA. I built what we call an inkblot expansion model. I have agents in basically 1, 2, 3, like 5 different area codes of LA. If you know, LA has like 46 area codes. But I've hired agents that live all over town, so we can really help our clients out. Maybe like where you live, like just people cover a wide area. Like as buyers, they just go from like area to area across town, and we built a business to help with that. And so I'd love to earn your referrals. That's all.
I love that. Oh, I got it. Yeah. So everyone watching, we're going to have all your contact information, of course,
Okay, great.
linked up and all that good stuff. And so definitely for LA, give Richard a call. He's, as you could tell, a great guy, huge athlete, runs all the time and all that good stuff. But Richard, I want to, before I let you go, I want to ask you for all the kind of younger agents or agents maybe that aren't where they want to be, if you can give them some parting words of wisdom.
I'm going to quote another agent friend. I don't know if you know him. A friend of mine in South Carolina, Haro Station. Do you know Haro?
Yeah, he's in South Carolina. Did he move? Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he's from there.
Yeah, I've talked to him before.
He's just like very, I don't know if Zen's the right word. He told me like one of the most impactful things I've ever heard. He said that if you insider trade in the stock market, you go to jail, right? That's like why Martha Stewart went to jail. And if you insider trade in real estate, you get rich. And what he means by that is, look, I've sold a lot of real estate. I know you sold a lot of real estate. I'm not financially doing well because it's not hurting. I'm financially comfortable because I've invested in real estate since 2008. I've been buying real estate. I bought one great deal my whole life. I bought everything else was market rate deals or maybe a couple points below market. Maybe I found some value add. Anyone listening, newer agents, you are never going to sell enough real estate to become financially successful. It's just an enormous amount of real estate you have to sell, and for a long time, which people just don't do. There's just not a lot of people doing this for 20 years at a high level. I have a lot of friends that do it 8 years and burn out and quit. The way you're going to change your life is by using your knowledge to invest in real estate and make money on investing in real estate. Whether that's a whole nother conversation. Is that flipping or development? I'm super heavy into cash flow. Like I'm only interested in like if I put down $100, can I get a certain amount of cash flow back on a property? But if you're not insider trading on real estate, you're missing out on where the real money is in this business. It's not in your commissions. It's in your ability to buy real estate, and you have to hold. Like I said, I got one really good deal my whole life, maybe 2, right? And I should have those deals, right? I should have access to those. I'm gonna say 2. I'll correct that 2. But everything else was like on MLS, bought through a broker, competed in the public market. Fixer uppers usually is my MO. If you're not using your knowledge to do that, you're missing out on the real benefit and the value of this job. I tell that when I talk. I tell that to people on my team. The people on my team that own rental properties it just changes your financial trajectory. Just one. You don't need a bunch. 1, 2, 3 changes your whole life. So.
And Richard, that is fantastic advice. People usually go somewhere totally different with agents. I love that. That is such.
What should I have said? What was the right answer?
No, that is I think that's the right answer. I love it. And so I think you're right. We could probably do part 2 just on that. If you'll come back on, we'll do it again, and we'll chat about how you get that, how you buy that, and how you build an investment property portfolio. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just super simple. That was what I kind of mentioned before is I just noticed that agents weren't buying properties. I just could not figure out for the life of me because I'm like, isn't it cool to own stuff?
Yeah.
And people were just not buying stuff. So it drives me crazy. But anyway.
I love it. All right, that's going to be part 2. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can
like
see that.
And subscribe.
That's right. And you guys, in all seriousness, all of Richard's contact info is down below. Make sure you reach out for all things LA real estate. And by the way, that is a big deal that you cover a wide range because in LA, going 5 miles could take you like an hour. So you need to have.
I don't go 5 miles, but I have an agent that lives where 5 miles in all directions because you can't. Otherwise, you're spending all day in the car. So.
I love it, Richard. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
For all your knowledge and experience and everything. This is so great. And I know I got a lot out of it. I'm sure everyone watching did as well.
All right, good.